progress.
Okay, good morning everyone. Again Chodesh, Rosh Chodesh Elul. We're continuing in Seif Mishna Berura. Siman Kuf Lamed Tes Seif Daled. We're in middle of Seif Daled. The Mechaber said that anyone who gets an Aliya makes a bracha before and after. Even though Medina, really only the first Oila can make a bracha before and the last Oila will make a bracha after, still, B'nei HaNechnasim HaYoitzim, who may not have heard the bracha before or may not hear the bracha after, every Oila makes the bracha before and after. We're in the middle of Mishna Berura, Sivkatan Tes Vav. The Mishnah, let's start again. The bracha at the end is midrabanan according to everyone. And the bracha before she berchas hashabachar yesh deos bein haposkim im hidvar Torah d'Rabbanan. There's a machlokes whether it's d'oraisa or d'Rabbanan. We pointed out it's only those. The only tzad that it would be d'oraisa v'hanimili kishlei bercha dam berchas haTorah. If you didn't yet make berchas haTorah. Question: if you didn't make Berchas HaTorah, then of course it's D'oraisa, because Berchas HaTorah is D'oraisa. So why would anyone hold it's D'Rabbanan? Berchas HaTorah is D'oraisa. I guess that's what the Mishna Berura means. There are opinions that Berchas HaTorah d'Rabbanan. We paskin like the Shagas Ariya that it's d'oraisa. There are Acharayim that say it's d'Rabbanan. What the Mishna Berura means is, in general, Berchas HaTorah is a machlokes if it's d'oraisa or d'Rabbanan, and that's only noigeya if you get an Aliya if you didn't yet make Berchas HaTorah. But it's a little bit of an interesting presentation because we're talking about the bracha for an Aliya, so that means the Mishna Berura should have just said everybody holds Berchas HaTorah on an Aliya is d'Rabbanan. I don't know why he brings in the general machlokes whether Berchas HaTorah is d'Rabbanan. That's already, we had that earlier in Siman Mem something, Mem Zayin or so, or Mem Vav. Okay, why do we not make a bracha? Asher Kedushan Mitzvos V'Tzivanu Likrois B'Torah. Pri Megadim says, because we already said la'asaik, and it's not a hefsek, because at every moment the obligation rests upon you to learn Torah. Therefore, if somebody got called up for an Aliyah before Berchas HaTorah, he should make the bracha la'asaik before his Aliyah. Okay. If let's say the Oila said Asher Nasan instead of Asher Bachar, if you remembered before he said Hashem's name in the Chasima, the Hainu Noisen HaTorah, Yaschil, he starts again, Me Asher Bachar Banu. Once he already said Baruch Atah Hashem, he's done. But if he didn't say Hashem's name, he should go back to Asher Bachar Banu. V'im kvar omer bracha to Hashem, av shadayin lo yamer noisin haTorah, yisai moisa bracha, ul'achar kriya yomer asher bachar banu. So if you already said Hashem's name, just conclude noisin haTorah, and then after the kriya you should say asher bachar banu. Oid kasav sham, im amar bracha harishayna karoi. If he said the first bracha properly, Uva bracha hashniya ta v'hischel asher bachar banu. What if the first bracha said properly and then the second bracha he made a mistake and he said asher bachar again? Im nizkar tamra amra bracha to Hashem noisin haTorah yaschel me asher nasan lani avalim loy nizkar ad lachshem bracha to Hashem noisin haTorah. Then he has to make the bracha again. Yaschel oid hapam mitchilas habracha. So if he's finished the bracha to Hashem noisin haTorah, he just goes back and makes a Asher Nasan Lanu one more time. But what if he remembered after he said Hashem's name before noisin haTorah, v'im nizkar la'achar bracha to Hashem before noisin haTorah, then he should say Elokeinu melech haolam Asher Nasan Lanu. Okay. Now we're going to learn how to get an Aliyah. Says Mechaber Veroya HaPasuk Shetzarach Lahaskal Bai. You should see the pasuk that you need to begin with, V'acher Kach Yivarich, and then make the bracha. Says the Mishna Berura, Veroya HaPasuk Kedei Sheyeda Mahu Mavarich, in order for you to know what you're making a bracha on. V'acher Kach Yivarich, and then you make the bracha. Right, Salaymar. She'ein Sarach Liglal HaSefer Torah B'Shas Brachasai. You do not need to close the Sefer Torah when you make the bracha. But maybe people are going to suspect that you're reading the brachas from the Sefer Torah. But v'dafka b'bracha rishayna lechashish. They're only not choshish for this in the bracha rishayna, because to close it is tercha d'tzibura. Mishum tercha d'tzibura she'etzarach lahamtin ad sheyachzar v'yiftach. People are going to have to wait until you go and open it again. Ava bracha achrayna. But the bracha after, deleka tamzeh, where it's not tercha d'tzibura, because anyway you have to close it. V'gam de but I'm sorry, but dafka the bracha rishon, they're not concerned because of tercha d'tzibura. But the bracha achrayna, where this doesn't apply, because number one, you don't have to open it. The Aliya is over. You have to close it anyway. It's definitely better to close the Sefer Torah before you make the bracha. That everybody agrees to. That you need to close the Sefer Torah before you make the bracha after. That's us back to the Mechaber. So after the Aliya, you close the Sefer Torah and you make the bracha. However, before you make the bracha, you do not need to close the Sefer Torah. We are not worried. People are going to say that you're reading the brachas from the Sefer Torah. We're only worried about that in a situation where there's no tercha d'tzibura. Where there's tercha d'tzibura, then we put that chashash aside. So therefore, in the bracha before, you keep it open. The bracha after, you keep it closed.
What does it mean, ain't sarach liglol? If it's terchat tzibur, it should be aser. You're not allowed to close it. It's terchat tzibur. You're not allowed to hold up the tzibur.
But on the other hand, there is somewhat of a chashash that people are going to say the brachas are written. So therefore, we don't require you to close it, because you're allowed to take into account the tercha d'tzibura. Let's see the Bir Halacha. V'roya ha'pasuk shetzarach lahaskal bai. I am Mishna Berura Masach Yagvach. V'da diyesh poskim shesovrim dem roitzel liglal v'acher kach levarich adav tfei. Some poskim say if you want to close it and then make the bracha, it's better. It's better. Ela d'halacha k'Rabbi Yehuda she'enoi mechuyev la'asos kein. And therefore, based on this, in some places they're noig sharoyin, they see v'gol and they close it v'acher kach mavarchin v'nahara upshate. Each river flows on its course. So in other words, here we have it even more explicit. Rabbi Yehuda holds you're not mechuyev to close it because of the issue of tercha d'tzibura. However, you're allowed to. You're allowed to. Why? Shelo yoimru, that the brachas are. Now, what do? Haga. So the opinion of the Mechaber is that you keep it open. You see the pasuk and you make the bracha with the Sefer Torah open. But what about the fact that people are going to think you're reading it? So now we have the Rama. The Rama says, Hago v'shashim avarich bracha rishana yafich panav al asad. You turn to the side, shelo yehei nira k'mavarich min ha-Torah. So it doesn't look like you're making a bracha from the Torah. V'nira li, that comes from the Kolbai. V'nira li, it's interesting that the Mishna, the Bir Halacha did not quote which poskim hold that you're allowed to close it. He just says the achroinim, but he doesn't tell you who the achroinim are. The Rama, who's going with the Mechaber, says you keep it open and you turn your face. Says the Mishna Berura Yafech Panav Sfirole. Right. So the opinion of the Rama is from the Kolbai, and then the Rama adds his own little comment. Venerally the Yafech Panav L'tzad Smali. You should turn to your left. Yafech Panav, Srele, the Kivan de Bezel Leka Tercha de Tzibur. There's no Tercha de Tzibur if you turn. Toiv Lachash Gambe Bracha Rishayna Lachshash Shalo Yoimru Brachas Ksuvs B'Torah. It's correct to be concerned for the opinion that even by Bracha Rishayna, people shouldn't say the brachas are written in the Torah. Kamay Shekasavnu Ke'ein Zeh B'Siv Katan Yud Zayin. However, let's just do the next Mishnah Berura, part of it. Smoilai, why turn to the left? Hu Yamin HaKadosh Baruch Hu Omer Lenegdai. It's the right of Hashem who stands opposite you. V'chanal Siman Kuf Chav Gimel, where the Shulchan Aruch says when you say Oiseh Shalom, you first turn to the left. Why? Because you see yourself opposite the Shechina. Mihu. Yesh achronim shekaz da'afichas panav eino inachain. Some say, some achronim, namely the Taz, say it's not correct to turn your face. Demara atzma kilo eino mavarich hama sheyikra. It looks, you're not making a bracha on what you're about to read. It looks like I don't know what you're doing. Because you're turning your face away. These achronim say, better to close your eyes. And it's better to close your eyes and not look at the Sefer Torah at the time of the bracha. I presume the Rama would hold that people don't know from behind whether your eyes are open or closed, but if they see you turning to the side, then they know you're not making the bracha from the Sefer Torah. So you have basically three options. Option number one is what the Mechaber and the Rama say, where you keep the Sefer Torah open and you turn to the left. Option number two is the Taz, where you keep the Sefer Torah open and you close your eyes. Option number three is what the Be'er Halacha says, that you close the Sefer Torah. Va'ayin be'Be'er Halacha. I do what the Be'er Halacha does. I close it. I don't like turning to the side. It's very disconcerting to me. I don't know what the guy's doing. Where's he looking?
The brachas are very often on the side. It's perfect.
No, but the brachas are usually are always on the right side.
On the right side, right? Okay.
I want you to turn to the left, and for some reason,
yeah,
the brachas on the right side, which is on the left.
Yesh nayagin lishchais u'lishtachavos be'es amiras habracha mishum kavod Torah. Some are noig to bow and to bend when they say the bracha because of kavod Torah. I used to have guys who did that. Why do they bow to the Torah? The Pri Megadim says, "V'nei shekol haTorah hu shmoisav shel Kadosh Baruch Hu." V'kasav Aliya Rabbah the al kol panim lo yishcha gam b'soif habracha. You shouldn't bow also at the end of the bracha. Sounds like from the beginning of the bracha, you're allowed to bow. The Azia near kilo moisav al shchiyos shetigna the asar k'may shekasav al b'simin kuf yud gimel. It's interesting. The Be'er Halacha in his third option, he doesn't tell you who the achronim are. You have Mechaber Rama, you have the Taz, and then you have achronim. Okay, Rabbi say.
Just like bow, like by Magen Avram in the same way, or bow when you.
No, they like remain bowing the whole time. I've seen that.
It's interesting that neither the Mishnah nor the Be'er Halacha requires people to actually kiss the place of where the Aliya is beginning, and half the time they end up with the tzitzis putting their finger on the cloth. I see it every day almost. And you're not allowed to touch the Sefer Torah. They also get saliva that messes up the ksav. There's no such requirement here.
Rav Henkin said you're now to touch the letters. Even with tzitzis, you could be over a lav of mechikas Sefer Torah. Rav Henkin says in the Eidos Yisrael not to touch. You should touch the parchment on the bottom of the page, where there's no oisios.
The other side of the cloth that's rolled up.
Recording stopped.